Dead or Alive is a series that, while not currently at the height of its popularity, most people are familiar with. Where Mortal Kombat is a fighting game series best known for its over-the-top violence, Dead or Alive is a fighting game series best known for its over-the-top fan service. But just like Mortal Kombat, there's a lot more depth to these games beneath their flashy exterior, with intricate mechanics, likable characters, and complex storylines. While Mortal Kombat largely stuck to its fighting game roots, Dead or Alive decided to branch out into the world of sports fantasy simulation with its Xtreme series, the first of which was Dead or Alive Xtreme Beach Volleyball, released in 2003 for the original Xbox. In this game, you select the girl of your choice and embark on a 2-week vacation on a tropical island. The story is that Zack, one of the more eccentric characters of Dead or Alive, which, believe me, that's saying a lot, wins big at the casino and then uses his winnings to buy his own private island, which he appropriately names Zack Island. He then tricks the girls of Dead or Alive into thinking that the next Dead or Alive fighting tournament is to be held on this island, only for them to realize upon arrival that only women were invited and that there was no tournament to begin with. Determined to make the most of the situation they find themselves in, the girls decide to have some fun in the sun by partaking in volleyball, obviously, as the title says, some gambling, hopping across pool floaties, and just soaking in the scenery. All of this with some light relationship building mechanics in which you can form or break partnerships with the other girls, and participate in gift giving based on each girl's specific preferences. Now, being that you play as the specific girl of your choosing, there are no romantic elements involved, so it's strictly about friendship. At the end of the vacation, all the girls fly back home, and then Zack's island is sunk into the bottom of the ocean by a sudden volcanic eruption. And as this is happening, Zack's girlfriend, Nikki, throws on a jetpack and just flies away, leaving him for dead. And then he gets eaten by a shark. And that's it. So you might be wondering, how exactly did Zack survive? Because he is in future Dead or Alive installments, including Dead or Alive Xtreme 2. Well, it was never explained. But even more confusing, he actually got back together with Nikki, which, again, was never explained. So if you were hoping for some lore here, nah, not this time. Anyway, now that we have what little backstory we were given, it's time to dive into the sequel, Dead or Alive Xtreme 2. So our story begins with Zack and Nikki searching for the remains of Zack Island in his high-tech submarine. So if you're wondering how he suddenly made a new fortune after losing everything when Zack Island was destroyed, well, the instruction manual goes over that. He searched for and found the ancient treasures of the pharaohs, once again making him a billionaire. So, okay, I had to know, was this ever explained or even shown? Oh, okay, apparently Dead or Alive 4 covered that. Great. Moving on, they find the island and launch a rocket into space, which summons a gigantic space station which uses a laser beam to raise the island back up from under the ocean's surface. And I gotta say, kind of a missed opportunity for Dead or Alive Xtreme Space Volleyball, don't you think? I mean, come on, we could have had zero gravity jiggle physics. Oh, guess we got that anyway. The submarine gets tossed into the sky, so Zack and Nikki eject from their seats and parachute down to the island. And apparently, once again, the girls are fooled into thinking the next Dead or Alive tournament will take place here. The manual even says a group of competitors have gathered despite their better judgment. In fact, for some reason, all of those invited are captivating young ladies. Just what is Zack up to this time? Well, I think it's safe to say it's probably the exact same thing he was looking for last time. So let's pick our girl and get this vacation started. As always, I'm gonna go with Ayane. The game starts off with Lisa showing us around the island, giving us a little tutorial of sorts. We're introduced to the accessories shop, where you can buy accessories and beauty items, the sports shop, where you can buy sports equipment, swimsuits, and minigame tickets. Then there's Zack of All Trades, which is a shop that allows you to buy food and drink, rare items and collectibles. There's a gift wrapping service, and other miscellaneous items. Basically, this is where you go to buy gifts for the other girls in order to improve your relationship with them. The game doesn't do much to tell you what items the girls may like or dislike, but the manual at least gives gives you a few hints, like favorite color and favorite food. Thankfully, you can just use online resources to see which items are best suited to which girls. Without that, however, it's just a blind guessing game that can get pretty frustrating, and I already went through that with the first game, so this time I'd rather do a little research first. The items at these shops are consistently rotated and refreshed, so don't worry too much if the selection isn't to your liking. Lisa then shows us a few of the game modes that are available. However, she doesn't really do much to teach you how any of these game modes are actually played. I mean, sure, the loading screen shows us the controls, but there's no actual gameplay tutorial where the mechanics are clearly explained. The first game mode we're introduced to is Watercraft Racing, which is a brand new addition to the Dead or Alive Xtreme series. It's also the only game in the series to feature this game mode, which really makes this one stand out. The gameplay is fine. It's actually a lot like Wave Race 64. You race against your opponent, try to stay on the right side of the arrows to gain boost refills, and you can also pull off some tricks. The default watercraft has really crappy stats, so it's a good idea to invest in a better watercraft before attempting too many of these races. I just waited until I had enough for the one with the best stats, but that didn't necessarily make anything easier for me, at least not right away. It was really hard to figure out how to handle the damn thing because it accelerates so frickin' fast and there are no brakes. So I slammed into walls, went out of bounds, went flying off ramps, went flying off my watercraft and onto the beach, and got my ass kicked pretty good. So practice makes perfect, right? And after doing that for a little while, I started to get the hang of it, and I honestly found this game mode to be a lot of fun. I mean, it's pretty bare bones for the most part, but it's challenging and stimulating enough to keep me coming back, even if it does tend to get a bit repetitive. Next up is pool hopping. In the first game, this was a solitary activity, but now it's a race between you and your partner. Extra points can be earned for pressing the button which corresponds to the color you're hopping to next, but this confused me a little since I've been playing a lot of Dead or Alive Xtreme 3, which actually shows the symbols for the buttons it wants you to press. So as a result, I got distracted and lost the first match. Since the Xbox 360 controller doesn't have pressure-sensitive face buttons like the original Xbox controller did, the distance you jump across the pool floaties is based on how long you press the button rather than how hard you press the button. And honestly, I prefer it this way. Tap for short hops and hold for long hops. Pretty simple and easy enough not to miss input. There are a couple other small minigames we can play too, but these require tickets in order for us to access them. Now at first, I thought that a new ticket would be required for each time you play, but thankfully you just have to buy each ticket once, and you can play these minigames infinitely after that. The first one I want to talk about is the water slide, and I mean just take a look at the end of this description here. Don't get too carried away if you want to live. Well, that's encouraging. I love it when my theme park attractions come with death threats, but seriously, just take a look at this thing. Even Tom Cruise wouldn't be crazy enough to pull off this stunt. So, alright, let's see how this goes. Well, there you have it. That's the water slide. I've tried it a few more times, and while I did seem to get a little further, I could never quite make it to the end. This game mode even keeps track of your best times, but since I could never finish it, my score remains blank. Now don't get me wrong, I do actually find this game mode fun, but I think it's a bit too hard. I would have preferred if they had multiple water slides with varying degrees of difficulty, rather than one water slide that's just hard as balls. But hey, maybe someday I'll finally beat it. For now though, I'd like to move on to other business. And now we have the most brain-dead minigame of all, beach flags. The game starts with you and your opponent lying down, and as soon as the whistle blows, you're supposed to mash the A button as hard as possible. Now, if you start mashing too early, you automatically lose. Once you're close enough to the flag, just press B and you'll dive for it. Whoever catches the flag first wins. Honestly, I'm just not a huge fan of these types of minigames where most of the challenge comes from how fast you can mash a button. I just don't really find it all that interesting. Even when it comes to something like Mario Party, these are always my least favorite types of minigames, so I guess they're just not for me. Next up is Tug of War. This one's simple too, but a lot more interesting than beach flags. The idea is to pull your opponent off their floaty and into the water. You can choose to pull the rope by flicking left on the analog stick, or flick right to fake out your opponent by giving the rope some slack. If you time this just as the opponent tries to pull their rope, they'll fall right into the water. But watch out, because your opponent can do this too. If they catch you with a regular pull, you'll be thrown off balance, meaning you need to quickly mash A to regain your balance. So while this minigame does have elements of button mashing to it, it's not the only mechanic involved, so I do find this one to be a lot more fun than beach flags. The opponent doesn't go easy on you though, so don't expect to win too often. And for the final ticket-based minigame, we have Butt Battle. And yes, you heard that right. Butt battle. You and your opponent stand on a pool floaty and try to knock each other off using only your butts. Now, this game is also pretty mechanically simple, but the CPU does not go easy on you. All your moves are executed with the left analog stick, so you flick right to do a regular attack, flick left to dodge, or quickly flick left, then right to do a more powerful attack. As you can see, I'm not particularly great at this minigame either, and while I do find it somewhat amusing, it's still not exhilarating enough to really keep me coming back all that often. And now, for the main event, Volleyball. This is the feature presentation and easily the most complex and engaging game mode. While it may look deceptively simple, there are actually a lot of mechanics involved here. There are 3 different types of serves, 2 of which have their own specific timing. The first one is the normal serve, where you just press A to toss it, and then A to hit it. The second one is the underhand serve, which is the only serve that doesn't require any timing. You just pull left on the analog stick as you press A, and your character will do an underhand serve across the net. The most effective, yet most difficult serve is the jump serve. This one involves pushing forward on the analog stick as you press A, at which point you'll jump up into the air and have to hit A again at the right time to send the ball over the net. Anytime you get perfect timing on a serve or on a spike, you'll get a compliment from your partner, which awards you some extra bonus points, meaning some more prize money at the end of the match. After you hit the ball over to your opponent's side, they'll eventually send it back to you. Sometimes your partner will receive the ball by passing it to you, and other times it's up to you to pass the ball to your partner. This is done using the B button. While your partner will move around and pass or spike the ball on their own, you are actually able to control your partner's position with the right analog stick if you wish. I don't tend to do it too often, but every now and then it can be a real lifesaver. At least I can say that the CPU does tend to have pretty good instincts just on its own. Most of the time, anyway. The instruction manual explains a few strategies to us as well, such as the set attack. Now, a set attack involves going directly for the spike on the second hit after the ball crosses the net. This is done by receiving the ball by pushing B in combination with either up, back, or down. Your partner will then go straight for a spike. You can get your partner to set you up for a spike the same way, just push the same buttons when they're the ones receiving. Next up is the quick spike, which is done by pushing right and B when receiving the ball. This will make your partner quickly send the ball back to you as you move towards the net, allowing you to spike it much faster than usual. This is a bit different from the set attack I mentioned earlier because it doesn't go for a spike on the second hit, but rather on the third hit, like a normal set, just much faster. The benefit here is that the other team may not have time to position themselves defensively. Once again, we can have the partner perform the quick spike, just make sure to push the same buttons when they're the one receiving. Going up to the net and holding A will have your character jump up and block your opponent's shot, but you have to get the timing and the positioning right for this to work, which I definitely have not mastered yet. Luckily, your partner can prove to be very effective at blocking, so I usually leave it to them. Your opponents are able to block as well. The best way to deal with a block, in my opinion, is to push B instead of A, which instead of spiking the ball into their block, will gently toss it over their block. Oftentimes, the opponent's partner won't see this coming, so it's a good way to score some easy points. And I think that just about covers it. I mean, I really enjoy the volleyball aspect of this game, and while I do play it a lot, I still feel like I have a lot to learn. All these strategies can be tricky to execute, but that's part of what makes this so satisfyingly addictive. It's a shame the online servers for this game are no longer up, because I would have loved to actually play this competitively with other people. There's no local multiplayer either, so even if I could somehow convince one of my friends to stoop to my level and actually play this with me, only the first game on the original Xbox supported local multiplayer. So that's how each individual game mode works, but let's talk about the experience that connects all of it, and that's your life on the island. Every time you take part in a specific activity, the time of day advances, so you have morning, afternoon, and evening to go and enjoy activities around the island. Once it's nighttime, you go back to the hotel. On your first night, you choose one of 3 available hotels to stay at, and while that is pretty cool, it doesn't seem to make any difference aside from the aesthetic of the room you're staying in. Every night when you return to the hotel room, you receive a random gift from Zack, which is a nice way to get some free items. You'll also sometimes receive a gift from your partner if you have a good relationship with her. You're able to sort through your inventory, store things in your collection if you don't want them cluttering your inventory, and you can also send gifts to the other girls. I did also notice something called the Crystal Boutique, which seems to be this game's cosmetic DLC shop, and man, you can tell this is old because the prices are in frickin' Microsoft points. Once you select an item, you'll see how much the actual cash price is, and I actually tried to buy one of them just to see if it still works, but of course, thanks to Microsoft shutting down the 360 marketplace, nothing can actually be purchased here anymore. The good news is all the content here can actually be unlocked by just playing the game, so it's really just the paid shortcuts that we're losing here. From the hotel room, we can also go to the casino, where we'll have access to a number of games like poker, blackjack, roulette, and slots. These games are quite simple if you're at all familiar with real casino games, and if you don't know much about them, then the instruction manual covers some of the basics for you. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the relationship system. Anytime you start a new vacation, you're paired up with a random partner. Your relationship with this partner will be neutral, but you can improve it by taking part in activities together and by buying her gifts that she'd like and wrapping them in her favorite color. If you have a good relationship with a particular girl, you'll see a lot of musical notes above her icon in these dialogue boxes. The more notes, the better the relationship. So let's say you're sick of your partner and you want to switch to someone else. You can ask any girl who's hanging out around the island to partner up with you, but if you don't do anything to establish a good relationship with her, chances are she'll shoot you down. The best thing to do is to decide on a girl and continue to give her gifts she'd like throughout the next couple of days until you start to see those music notes whenever you talk to her. Once you see the music notes pop up above her head, you'll know that she likes you, making it all the more likely that she'll agree to be your partner. If you're tired of taking part in activities and just want to relax, then you can do that too. Many locations have a relax option in which your character will just kick back and interact with her surroundings. Another option you'll sometimes see is be friendly, which means you and your partner will hang out together and just kick back for a little while. If you purchased a camera and some film, you have the option to take some photos, but I mean, just look at these controls. Change develop mode, f-stop, shutter speed, autofocus, like, damn, this is some pretty serious stuff, and I don't understand half of what any of these functions do, and on top of that, the controls aren't exactly intuitive. I mean, moving with the right analog stick and looking around with the left stick? What the hell is that? And if that wasn't enough, these relaxation scenes aren't exactly very long, so they always end before I have enough time to get a proper feel for the controls. I haven't spent a whole lot of time taking pictures, but you can look through them in the hotel room, and as you can see, they don't always turn out so great. I guess this is more something for photography enthusiasts, but I find it a little bit inaccessible. I guess I just need more practice, but for now, it's a bit too much for me. That's it, really. Each vacation cycle is 14 days long. On the 15th day, you fly back home, and that's it. But you can replay the game as many times as you want, and each time you do, all of your stuff from the previous playthrough does carry over. Your inventory is specific to each girl, so if you start the vacation as a different girl, you're not going to have the same inventory that you had with a different girl, for example. So that's one thing to bear in mind. Also, the relationships do reset. So just because you had a good relationship with a girl in one particular vacation doesn't mean that in the next one you'll automatically pick up where you left off. You do start from 0 every time, which I'm okay with. I mean, I think that would be kind of boring if you just automatically had maxed out relationships each time. So that's fine by me.
Just look at that.
They're in honor of our wedding. Let's celebrate, baby!
Wedding? Ours? Shouldn't we worry about the volcano first?
It's all taken care of, baby. Ooh la la.
Zack, wait, look!
Why me? It's a nightmare. My island, my life. Why? Huh?
Don't make me leave without you!
Nikki! You're my girl! You ain't seen the last of me!
What's the verdict? How do I feel about this game? Well, I think it's obvious. I really like it, and in fact, it's probably my new favorite in the series. I mean, if we're talking just DOA Xtreme 1 through 3, not Venus Vacation, which is a gacha clicker, or Venus Vacation Prism, which is a dating simulator that I've yet to play. If we're talking about the ones that actually focus on playing volleyball and enjoying life on the island, then I think DOA Xtreme 2 is the best one. It pretty much improves on everything from the first game without taking anything away, except for the couch co-op, of course. And DOA Xtreme 3, while it does feel a lot more polished in some areas, it is a lot more lacking in terms of content, and it can feel kind of grindy. So DOA Xtreme 2 is the best balance, I think. It has the most content, it's the most rewarding, and it doesn't make you feel like you have to grind to get what you want. You actually get rewarded for having fun, and that's the most important thing here. So if you haven't played this one, I think it's very worth getting your hands on. That is, of course, if you're a fan of these types of games. Otherwise, just stick to the fighting games, or stick to the gacha clicker, or whatever you enjoy. I mean, there are no wrong answers here. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please comment, thumbs up, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you!